It was 1946. Tom Carnegie was hired to announce a local antique auto show, and as the 26-year-old worked the mic, Wilbur Shaw, then president of the Speedway, couldn't turn away from the rich, dulcet tones of Tom's voice. So he and Tony Hulman asked Carnegie to join the public address team at the Speedway. That's Tom in the upper right-hand corner. He called himself a true rookie at the track that year.
Nobody had any help. Nobody gave me any help or anything like that. I just had the names and numbers, like calling a football game. And I somehow got through it and satisfied Wilbur Shaw and Tony Hulman because they asked me to come back next year, and I've been there ever since.
But there's way more to it than that. Channel 6, or WFBM as it was known then, first aired the 500 in 1949. And then beefed up its coverage by hiring Carnegie in 1953, and he shook it up from the start.
One of the first things that I wanted to do was to have a trackside show during the month of May, live from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And the station was more than happy to give me the time.
Trackside reports bringing the news and newsmakers live to central Indiana.
I was always grateful that we were the first station to have trackside or have a daily program from the Speedway.
A segment that's weathered the storm. Five decades of Trackside 6 programming. A tradition that continues today.
Tom Carnegie reporting from the 19th Olympia.
Carnegie also brought the world to Indianapolis. He traveled to Tokyo to cover the 1964 Olympics and then to Mexico in 1968. After Jim Clark won the 1965 Indy 500, it was Carnegie who helped produce the documentary The Flying Scot, paying a visit to Clark's home in Scotland.
The appeal of money certainly is not the lure of your type of racing.
I started racing, I think I'd probably be racing today, or I would have been racing today, probably not in the scale I am, if nobody had ever paid me to race.
It was the first driver feature shown on national TV in the U.S. IndyCar racing made its first trip to the Far East in 1967. Tom was there too. The winner that day, Jackie Stewart.
Comments about the great race you ran?
Well, races are always hard, I suppose. It seems that sometimes the ones you win are maybe not as hard as others.
Back home again, it was more than motorsports. Chatting it up with Butler coach Tony Hinkle, he was on the PA for the famous 1954 Milan High School Championship, leading to a cameo on the iconic movie Hoosiers.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the championship game of the Indiana State High School Basketball Tournament. And now, the starting lineup for the Huskers.
His passion for the sport helped start the annual Hall of Fame Classic in Newcastle. Plus, there was a nighttime fascination as well.
You know, Tom, you and I are the kind of guys that over all these years we've been in the business, all those guys taking shots at you and all those guys taking shots at me, we just get by on our brains, don't we? I mean, we don't worry about our bodies. Both of us have destroyed bodies, but we've made it with our heads, Tom. Now, aren't you proud that both of us have been able to do that?
Oh, that's wonderful, wonderful, Bobby.
But for Carnegie, the track was where it was at. As the speeds rose, so did the popularity, and Tom helped with the drama of it all.
In the first place, it took me 10, 15 years to have any confidence that what I was saying was right. And then you begin to realize that this is theater. It's speed theater. And so then, growing up in the theater like I did, you began to do those little things. And then when somebody said, hey, I like that, when you said, he's on it,
great.
Well, then why not use it again?
The catchphrase quickly caught on. But it was only the start.
So many great slogans that he's had, one of them being Mario is slowing down.
I know, I hated that. I hated to hear that.
In the later years, Tom Carnegie's own mark at the Speedway was one of a kind, a 64-year run, never to be matched and always appreciated.
Tom Carnegie is the voice of the Indy 500. My first memories of Tom, really, him coming out to Albuquerque and interviewing my dad and my Uncle Bobby. Dad put him in a dune buggy along with my sisters and I, and we all went for a ride in the dune buggy, and Tom was just laughing the whole time.
You know, it's one of those things where we have known him for so many years. It's just hard to tell which came first, the chicken or the egg. You know, Tom Carnegie and the answers just go together.
You could take him to Daytona, you could take him to Sonoma, it doesn't matter. You take him and put him on a microphone at a racetrack, and if you know anything about racing, you know who that is on the other end of the microphone.
When you're talking about the Indianapolis 500 and the personalities that have made this event, I don't think anyone will ever be able to equal Tom Carnegie.
This is his home. This is his life. And like I say, he watched it come from nothing to the greatest sport in the world.
The race, a great American institution, but there's no doubt about it. Tom Carnegie was one too.
One will always be the roar of the engines and the cheers of the fans, but somehow it won't quite be the same.